Hey, welcome to another episode of the Innovation Mindset Podcast, hosted by the Jim Moran College of Entrepreneurship. This is where the story of innovation, entrepreneurship, and business is told. Today, we have in studio the head coach of Florida State's beach volleyball team, Brooke Niles. It is very good to have you in here. I am super excited. I have had some of your students, and I have so much to ask you. You're such a great coach. The first question I want to ask you is, you're the first coach in history to hit 300 wins matches, and you did it on your birthday. So I thought that was kind of cool on March 11th. Tell me a little bit about that day. Was that on your mind? Was it on the team's mind, or was that just another duel, another day?
First of all, thank you for having me on this podcast. I have heard a lot about it, and I'm excited to be here. Even the fact that you think I could be on your podcast is exciting. But no, that day, honestly, my new assistant coach, Travis Merwerder, is a journalist at heart, and he has his own podcast. That's something that he is always tracking stats. I had no idea, no idea. And the thing about it is I don't really enjoy attention. I like when my team gets attention, but not myself specifically. So he knew I'd be really upset about it. And then the fact they got shirts made and hid them from me, like all that they did all that without me figuring it out, was hilarious. And then just seeing the smiles on their face that they knew they pulled one over on me and hid it all from me to the last minute was what made it worth it. But that was not something I think about every year. It's just such a grind to get any win.
Yeah.
And I do like winning more than anybody, but I also like our team being able to compete at the end of the year for a national championship. So it's not necessarily about the wins for me. It's like, how are we progressing? But it was a complete shock. But it was on my birthday, so that was fun.
Yeah, it was on your birthday. When I was looking it up, and just I was going to talk about it, and then I saw it was on your birthday, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. I wonder if she even knew that it was on her birthday. I mean, I knew that you would have known then, but so actually I want to go back in history a little bit, back to your roots. Both you and I are from California, and I believe you're from Woodland Hills, is that? And you played indoor originally, and that would have been probably mid-90s, is that?
Graduated college in 99.
99, okay.
Yep.
Very good. So
I'm sorry, graduated high school. Did I say college or high school?
I think you said high school.
Okay, good.
Okay.
I don't want to date myself where I shouldn't.
Yeah. The game has gone through a lot of evolution since then. I'm originally from Burbank area, and my folks actually live in Thousand Oaks now, so just up the road from there. But I moved to Manhattan Beach when I graduated high school and fell in love with the game until I broke myself and couldn't play anymore. But the game has changed tremendously, and I would just like your perspective on the evolution of the game, especially West Coast versus East Coast. Since I've moved to the East Coast, it's very interesting to me when I meet an East Coast person and I ask them what level they are, and they'll say, I'm an East Coast Open. And I'm like, that's an interesting way to say that, but it's a different sport. So tell us about just playing indoor, and how did you become a beach player and fall in love with the sport?
I mean, I grew up on the beach. So I grew up in Woodland Hills, but my dad grew up in Venice Beach.
Okay.
He played professional baseball for a time, and in the off season would play volleyball on the beaches of Venice, Santa Monica, with all those big name guys. So my parents would bring us down to the beach when we were little. And while they played volleyball, we would just hang out. So I was just always grew up around it. And then I started playing indoor volleyball when I was younger, really loved it. I just loved all sports. And then in college, I went to UC Santa Barbara. And my coach at the time was still one of the winningest female players of all time on the beach. And it was a really important part of our training, was playing beach volleyball in the off season all summer. We'd go down to East Beach, iconic East Beach, where Karch trained, and we would just train and have fun, and it was really brought a lot of joy to our team, and it was part of our culture and my family too. So Santa Barbara was great. I couldn't ask for a better college experience. We were top 8 team in the country when I was there, and I just learned a lot about volleyball. West Coast style, I would say, when I was in college was more, I guess we were all undersized and just fast. Like, we'd play a lot of fast volleyball, really athletic athletes, but not like you see now in indoor volleyball. And then I would say when I was growing up, East Coast was more bigger athletes that maybe moved a little slower, game was a little slower. So now it's all kind of coming together. You have these big athletes that are athletic, that can move fast, run fast, offense and indoor. And I think that's transitioned a lot to the beach as well. And we try to stay up, like with our team, we specifically look at who we have and what are our skill set and how can we beat somebody else. So for instance, a couple of years ago, we had 7 freshmen starting in our lineup out of 10. And we kind of looked at it and we're like, well, if we play normal volleyball like everybody else, we're probably not going to win because we're just inexperienced. And so we try to define our offense and our playing style around our personnel and how we think we can get an advantage over somebody else. So it's changed a lot. It's changed even from how I played when I was growing up. But I do like that. It keeps me involved in the sport. It's exciting. It keeps everything a little bit fresh to try to find new ways to train and get better.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I have a Karch story. It's we used to play in the same area. I never played against him and St. John Smith. They're way too good. But I don't know if you've heard the documentaries coming out, Kings of the Beach.
Yes.
And I am so excited for that to drop. But I lost my driver's license on the volleyball court, and he lived down the street from me, and he returned my driver's license.
What a guy.
So that's my big Karch fame story.
Were you just starstruck when he opened the door? You opened the door and he
I
was
was.
right there?
Him and his wife were there, and they're all like, Mark. And they'd seen me down there. I mean, I played every day. So,
Yeah.
I mean, they knew who I was. I just was not that level.
Yeah.
I tried my best, but not even close. I can't jump. I can't jump at 57. I couldn't jump at 20. So those guys could fly. But so that's really fun. So So when you took over the program in 2016, it wasn't even an NCAA championship sport yet.
That was the first year.
My
first year. Yeah. And I actually started thinking back, 2015 was when I got hired, but it was summer.
Okay.
So then 2016 was the first year it was an NCAA championship and my first year coaching.
Okay. And you won. In fact, you've gone, or not won, but you've gone to the championships every single year since you have been here. I don't think any other coach in the United States can claim that. So you have the most match wins. You have the most showings in the championships and things like that. Absolutely incredible. What would you say you do differently than even some of like the marquee teams that, UCLA, USC, Stanford? How do you get your ladies so consistent, so competitive, and what do you do?
Every year is different, I would say. But when I first got this job, it was actually my first head coaching job. So I had been an assistant indoor after I played at Santa Barbara. I was doing that for 4 years and then played professionally for like 13 years after that. And so I just had to look at like, oh my gosh, I'm coming in new. What do I want this to be? What do I want people to think of when they think of Florida State beach volleyball? And I just went back to like my core values as a person, my upbringing with my family. My dad was a big influence in my sports background. And like, I guess that grit that you grow up with. Right. I was one of 4 kids, 2 brothers. We just fought and clawed for everything because we were so competitive. And so I was like, how do I bring that to Florida State? So that was like the big overhanging question. And I came into a program that had unbelievable athletes because we were one of the first programs to start beach volleyball.
Okay.
However, I think the leadership aspect, like they just didn't really believe in the leadership part of it and what their previous coach was telling them to do. So I had to like navigate that. And okay, these are great kids, but they are a little low level confidence, and what do we do here? So it was just a big learning phase. And I had also just finished playing professionally myself. And actually the first 4 months on the job, I still had a commitment to my partner. So I was going back and forth playing tournaments and trying to coach. And so I just thought, what would I want? And let me just try to do this. So it was very individualized because I had 15 to 20 athletes, but I was trying to coach them individually. It was a lot of work. But
were you it in the early days, or did you have assistant coaches?
For the first 2 months, yes.
Okay.
3 months. You know how long it takes to hire somebody in a state system. So, but then my first assistant was Hector Gutierrez, who's at TCU, and they won a national championship. He's done a great job with their program. And he was just so much fun. We made each other laugh. The players connected with us really well. And we just really thought like, hey, we need to make this like a family where they feel comfortable failing, where they feel comfortable being pushed and really trust and believe in us. And that's kind of been our culture going through. And it's not really like innovative. I think of this podcast and I'm like, okay, was that really innovative, or was it just like, let's just get back to who we are And I'm not for everyone, and I know that. And because, like, for instance, I grew up, my dad would make us compete at everything. So I was the third out of 4, and we'd race around the block. And my older brother's like 5, 6 years older than me, and I would try to beat him. And sometimes I would, it's just like this constant, like if we got in trouble, we had to run, we had to do all this stuff. So it was like, that made us closer as a family because we were like, oh man, like this is so hard. Like, let's just get over it so dad will be happy or whatever it was. And I just thought, okay, maybe they won't like me as much, but I'm going to push them that they're going to grow closer together and want to play hard for each other.
All right.
So kind of based off that, but they ended up liking me as a coach.
No, that's great.
And so here we are.
Yeah. I have heard about the program that you take, conditioning and fitness extremely seriously, and you use a lot of technology in measure force plates. Is that? And I was talking to, I always want to say Jerry Garcia, Jerry Gonzalez. I think he volunteered and said that you have extensive spreadsheets on your athletes and everything, and just measuring where they are and where they're progressing. Would you say that that's kind of normal for an NCAA team, or do you think that you take that a lot more seriously, the conditioning aspect of it?
I think it's normal for Florida State. One of the reasons I wanted to come here as a head coach is because they put so much time and energy into all their sports, and they really want to win at everything. But it's not like a win at all costs that we want to destroy people in the process. So they want to build people up and then win. And so all our programs here, I just jumped in to what they were doing. Our director of strength and conditioning at the time, Elisa Angelis, was at the forefront of all the technology. And now Johnny is even like better than she was, which is hard to say because she's like the top of the top for me. But just the fact, the care that they take for the athletes, I don't really understand a lot of it, but our strength and conditioning coach does. And she helps guide me through it. And there's a lot of it that I don't even care to know, but it helps our athletes understand their bodies a little bit better so they can perform. And it's hard, but it's like the price of admission. If you want to be a professional athlete, an elite professional athlete, you have to condition, you have to lift, you have to make your body resilient. I think people forget that, or they think the volleyball part is enough because it's hard. You play.
I do.
It's so hard to move in the sand. Take a couple months off and you go out there and you don't know what's happening. So to build that base off the sand, and it also gives our players so much confidence to see them lift more weights, to see them get better at their conditioning test numbers, all that jump improve, is just helps them build to be an elite athlete. And they know we're going to do things at an elite level, whether we win or lose, I don't care. But it has to be that level in everything we do. And so we're just a little obsessive of that. But I'll tell you what, I do it with them. My assistant coaches do it with them. So I don't want to be the person that's just barking at them from the sidelines that doesn't, oh, this is not that hard, or you're soft. Like, no, it's hard. I know how hard it is. But I see the benefit. And then, my husband is my assistant coach, which is unique, but he's also 2-time Olympian.
Yep.
And then my other
Rio
assistant.
Rio
and Tokyo. Yep. Yeah, which is, in itself, and countless medals on the world tour. Travis Merwerder, my other assistant, high-level beach volleyball player. I considered myself an elite volleyball player, beach and indoor. So it's not like we're just helping them get to where we know is just like awesome and unbelievable, and this is what you got to do. So. Okay.
No, yeah.
Sorry, I talk a lot, Mark.
No, it's perfect for a podcast. That's great. So changes in the game. So just to let you know, I played in the mid 80s and early 90s, and then I injured myself and didn't play for 30 years.
Oh
and then
gosh.
I was in Spain, and some German guys about 3 years ago, I was walking along the beach and they talked me into playing, and my shoulders held up and I had fun, and I'm like, I'm going to come back to Tallahassee and start playing and everything. But I've been shocked about a lot of the rule changes from when I used to play to now. And you've been in it a long, long time. What are some of the rule changes that you feel like? I used to play side out, and now it's rally scoring and stuff, and different rules that have changed along the way. Which ones do you think have improved the sport? Are there ones that, I don't know if you can say, but are there ones that you're like, I don't think that's a really good benefit to the sport?
The rule changes have been really interesting over time because I'm a purist and I've experienced volleyball all over. Like even watching my dad play, where they'd play side out scoring, he'd take us to the beach, we'd be there for hours and hours in one match, and then another team's waiting to go on. And then in college, I kind of experienced all the different rules. When I first started, it was side out scoring to 15.
Right.
So those matches would be hours. And then the next year, they decided to do rally scoring to 30. And they realized that was too long. So it's 25, and then libero and let serve. And I would say the let serve was always the hardest one for us to understand. And now people are just doing it. Like,
when you say let serve, is that when it hits the net and dribbles
yes.
over?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to just tell you, I hate that rule.
A lot of people do
hate that rule. Okay,
yes.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what it was called. I just called it stupid. So it's a let
serve. And
let serve. Okay.
And actually, I play a tournament every summer called the Manhattan 6-Man. It's a 6-on-6 beach volleyball, and they go back to old school rules. You can only score on serve.
Okay.
And the serve cannot hit the net. And people now don't get it. They're hitting the net all the time. It's serve for the other team, so it's really funny.
It completely changes the game.
It does. But I would say now the elite level of athlete that's playing beach volleyball, that has changed the game because of the size, the Phil Dahlhausers, the Carrie Walshes, Taryn Cloth, and Kristen Ness now. Like, to get those players out of system, you have to have things like that, or else the game is just going to be too easy for them. Service pressure is a big part of how I think the game has changed, and different types of serves and where you serve and kind of what you do. So we train the trickle serve because when it's 15-all and you need to get somebody to do something different, you want the ball to hit the net. And it's great when it happens on your side. Yeah. But at the same point, I've also seen these unbelievable trickle serves that amazing athletes have made these unbelievable plays and sided out. And as a fan, you're watching like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they just did that. And wow, that's so cool. Because I think having our sport is just so inviting, because you can be really close to these athletes like a Karch that just do incredible things with their bodies. And I think anyone that loves health and fitness, like, just loves seeing that. I mean, you're still playing volleyball. You said you're 57. It's just so addicting, and especially to watch something on TV and then go out and train with your friends and try to do it.
Yeah, no, it's a different perspective. I've had to relearn the game. I used to play like a meathead, like just get up and hit and jump. Not even though I didn't do that very well, but now I really can't do it. And I've had to completely rethink how to play the game so I can still be competitive, because now I can't jump. I'm slow and my reaction time's terrible, but I still enjoy it. I have a great time doing it. I play here on the FSU club team too. Nice. So that's a lot of fun. And I tell them, to me, just being able to play against 20-somethings is a win, right? And I can be competitive, and it makes me laugh, like when I block them, or if they get one by me and they celebrate. I'm like, you're celebrating that you got one over a senior citizen. Like, just take them down a little bit of a notch. But it is a sport you can play for a lot of years, and I hopefully I get more years, and I got a tournament this weekend, but it is different. It definitely does change. So I have another question. I don't know if you can actually answer this question, so feel free to dodge it. So when I started playing the ball was Spalding, and then I came back and it was Wilson, and then now we have the new, is it Mikasa, the new international balls?
Mikasa's been the international ball for a while, yeah.
Okay, that everybody's using. Do you have a ball preference? Are you allowed to say? Because I know, like, they all sponsor. Do you have to pass on this question?
No, well, Mikasa sponsors our team. So we're in the second year.
Okay, so you love Mikasa.
I love Mikasa, and actually Nike's making a beach ball. So as soon as, we're a Nike school, so as soon as Nike's ball is ready, we're going to play with a Nike ball. But actually, we love training with Mikasa's because it's the hardest ball to control. And you've probably played with it. It teaches you a lot about platform, and to be honest, a lot of beach players don't have an indoor background anymore because they go straight to beach. So some of the technical passing things that you learn indoor are just different. So it helps us teach technique, and also a training tool of ours is the Spalding is so different. The 6-man tournament I play that some of our players played in, they use that ball.
Really?
And I'm used to it. I grew up with it, and I love that ball.
I do too.
But they think, oh, it's weird, and it's a training tool for us about innovation. Is like, you could use all these different balls. You could play in the rain, and the school doesn't have enough money to have new balls, so you have to play with a 10-pound medicine ball. Like, what does that feel like? How does that change your hand contact, the way you serve? how does that change how you're going to score points, how you're going to run your offense? So we like to throw in random balls at practice too.
Okay.
Like our pairs championship, they play with a Baden. Probably never played with that ball. That's You would look at it and say, there's no way this is a beach ball. But it's such a good training tool for us to throw that in there and keep our players kind of open to new things and not just, I have to have this perfect ball to play volleyball, the only one I like. So we have used it as an advantage for us. But the Mikasa, I would say, out of all those, is the hardest one to control.
It really is. I personally, I have a very hard time with it. And if it's humid out, I won't even hand set because it's so slippery. But if you're in Europe playing, that's all they'll play with. I'll deflate my balls and bring, out my Wilson ball and everything, and they won't even touch it. They don't want anything to do with it. It's kind of funny how people have different ideas about their different balls, what people enjoy. So let's talk a little bit about how you measure your athletes, pushing them really hard in training, but recovery is the other side of that. How do you view recovery? How do you encourage your athletes to not overtrain and to recover?
Well, and that's the technology piece that we have grown to love. I would say, old school coaches, you can look at a player and be like, that girl's dogging it. Like, she's not trying. And it's like, well, maybe she stayed up all night studying or didn't feel herself properly, or she's just a different athlete than the one over there. And we can still push her and get her better, but maybe she just needs to start at a different place. So that's kind of what the technology does for us. Our players wear Whoop on their wrists, and it really measures their sleep, but also HRV, which is super important, staying healthy, measures their stress levels. It guides them like when you should go to sleep, when you should wake up if you want to perform. And really with that, there's 3 levels of recovered. There's green, yellow, and red. And if you're a high level athlete, you're not really in the green a lot when you're training.
Right.
But we try to peak, and when we play Gulf Shores or national championships or conference championships, we're more in the green than not. So that yellow, it's like they learn to understand that I'm going to be sore today, or I may not feel 100%, but I'm going to give my 100%. And then we're always monitoring it to be able to gear the workout towards the athlete, not what we think they should be capable of doing. Does that make sense?
Right.
And then the other things with force plate. So if we're training, we do it once a week, and our trainer's more, she kind of just tells me the results. But if somebody's jump goes down quite a bit, then we know there's something wrong. And we want them feeling great, like I said, at national championships. So we kind of try to peak at that point. So the way we monitor their load, lifting, and conditioning. And then another thing in the off season, we wear Kinix on. So it measures it clips onto their sports bra.
Okay.
And it measures their overall load. So they wear it when they're conditioning, practicing, and lifting.
Okay.
And so we can see what are their loads in a normal day of just practice and training, but then also they wear it when they play. So what are their loads on a weekend? And if we don't match those loads on the weekend sometime during the week, then they're not going to recover enough.
Okay.
For instance, in the fall, we play these pairs events similar to probably tournaments you play. So it's 2 days. It's a lot of matches. It's just a double limb tournament.
Yeah.
Those loads will be huge. But in the college spring season, we play 2 matches a day in our duel. We don't usually play 3. Sometimes we play 3. So we're trying to get in the best shape we can in the fall to be able to withstand the loads in the fall and then build for the spring. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it all kind of works together. It's also, they're eventually going to leave Florida State, as much as I don't like it, and they're going to go on and play professionally. So it's just teaching them a lot about what they need as an athlete and how they can continue to excel at the next level.
No, that's fantastic. So I want to talk to you a little bit about recruiting. Transparently, as a high school assistant coach who likes to volunteer and be in the sand and help the ladies, just wondering okay, how can we put together a package for, especially like a D1 school like FSU, and what are coaches looking for, and where are the gaps that you're like, wow, I'd really like to know this information, but they don't track it?
That's a good question. I'd have to think a little bit more probably about where I think, what we want to know about the athletes is, for us, we like athletes that can run fast, jump high, hit hard. So that's something we immediately will catch our eye if an athlete can do that. I feel like we train and develop athletes really well. So if the skills aren't quite there, then we look for that overall athleticism, because to compete for a national championship, I would say the top 4 or 5 teams in the country have those types of athletes.
Right.
But the other thing is a little more of a mental toughness piece to it, and resiliency. You know, how do you respond after making a mistake? Are you coachable? Because that's a tough one, because sometimes people come in this environment and people say it all the time, you're coming to a place where everyone was the MVP of their team. And so when you maybe don't play as much or aren't in the same spot as, you're on a team with players that are 6 years older than you sometimes. So how do you navigate through those challenges and become even more resilient is something we look for. So that's hard, because you kind of look at how they act in all the games. We try to watch our athletes a lot that we're recruiting. So we watch the ones they win. We also watch the ones they lose. We watch their parents. We watch how they respond to their coaches. And then we invite them to camps, which is a huge piece, because then we can actually work with them and communicate with them and just see for a weekend how they are. But
you just had a camp, right?
We had a couple in June. We'll have another one in November.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a big thing for us. Whereas now I think everyone wants to play tournaments, which is great. But like I said, I'm not for everyone. I tell everyone all the time, if you don't like to work hard and condition and lift, don't come to Florida State. Right. And everybody goes, we love it. And then they come here and they learn to love it if they're still here, but some of them don't really love it. So they're not being honest.
Okay.
And they don't really know how hard it is. Our freshmen all the time will say, oh, we're so ready. We did this training. And they get here and they're like, I wasn't ready for how hard it was, because it's different. And you're in school and all the expectations are different, and it's every single day. So those are things we try to weed out in the recruiting process. But I would say, you know, there's a true volley system now that is kind of trying to help to rank, that I really think is helpful, because it gives us a starting point.
Okay. But
also all those other things can see how the athlete can fit into your program specifically, not just like who they are as a volleyball player.
Exactly. I wanted to ask you a little bit about just kind of like your methodology of coming up with pairs. What are you looking for? Like, what ideally when you're looking at, is it mostly chemistry? Is it, you know, you want somebody who's a hitter and you want somebody playing defense? Like, how do you blend all these different pairs together to form one team? Because volleyball is very different than in every other sport.
Yeah. Honestly, sometimes it's just a trickle down effect. So you could like one person with one blocker with 3 different defenders. So we try to have them play quite a bit together in the fall. And so we can kind of see, okay, if we want you with these 3 people, like, let's play a tournament with each of them and see. Also, it's like, okay, you play better with this girl, and then so does this other girl, but we're going to so how does that trickle down and affect the other partners? And then also, where do you feel like with our personnel we can get wins? Because we have to win 3 out of 5. We don't have to win all 5. So can you give somebody experience playing? Maybe they play higher up than they should, but they're getting that really good experience of being in pressure for the next year. And maybe they aren't winning as much, but then everybody else is kind of helping your team win. Our team is just truly a team. We've never really relied on one pair. Last year we had a ones pair that never lost, which was phenomenal. And I don't know if we'll ever have that again at FSU. It's the first time we've had it, and I hope we do. And we're going to recruit athletes to do that. But that's just a gift, because it's the hardest spot to play and everybody's gunning for you all the time. So we were able to like really weigh a little bit on them and not even have to coach that team. They were kind of a little bit left on our own, so we could figure the rest out. But it really is just like a personality piece. But like I said, we're recruiting players that kind of all have the same values as us as coaches and the same things that are important to them. So when you're playing with somebody that has the same values as you, and you have the same goals, like, you're going to work it out and you're going to find ways to work it out. If it's totally opposite, then it probably can never work. So it's just that initial recruiting piece where we figure out who's going to be on the bus with us to ride that wave to the national championship. And all those players have been like-minded when we've had the most success.
Okay. So I'm sure that you have a story of a pair that you're like, on paper, you're really excited about and you think they're going to be great, but just in the sand, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah. A lot of those stories.
Tell me, how do you coach through that?
It's just a challenge, right? It's like something, and to be honest, I ask a lot of feedback from our players. I don't use them as the end all be all decision makers, but I just ask like, hey, how's it like playing with this person? Because it helps them be a better player, right? If they understand, are they good, easy to play with? Is this challenging? Whatever it is. At the time, I think if you have a challenging thing, it's just, okay, let's focus on the other team. Like, what do we need to do here to just do our best in this situation? And then we do have flexibility in our lineup to move up, one down, but you have to be careful with that because sometimes you can be moving out. One of my best players of all time, Elena Chacon, freshman year, unbelievable, not quite as consistent as she needed to be. And the person that she was playing with preferred playing with somebody else. And it was so hard for me to keep Elena out because I knew how good she was going to be. But we were a better team with her out. It just happened to be. And she was awesome. Great teammate, great leader, best cheerer of all time at NCAAs. And then the next 3 years, like she got us in the national championship game, I think twice while she was here. And just unbelievable. And then she just knew I'm going to be the best partner I can be to never be put out. I'm always going to be able to play with whoever you put me with. And so it was a great learning experience for her, even though that was just, it was what it was that year. And it didn't mean she was a bad player. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, so, absolutely. And yeah, you see that all the time. Sometimes it's just court chemistry, right? They may even be friends off court, but just doesn't work on court.
Yeah.
I've seen that a lot.
I know.
So a couple more questions. I want to ask about moving to it's Big 12 last year, right?
Yes.
Did I say that right?
Yeah, Big 12.
Okay. For some reason, I'm like, that doesn't sound right.
It doesn't sound right.
What was that transition like? Did it impact your coaching at all? Did it impact the team? It seems like it would really impact the travel schedule, right? So how was adapting to that like?
A lot of those teams that we were with, we had been with in a previous conference. So I think adapting to the teams, it was easy for us. And the Big 12 was so welcoming, and the people that lead the Big 12 were just on it. They were very organized. They had a plan for everything. And that was a little bit refreshing because I would say our past conference, it wasn't like a big name conference. It was the CCSA. And so we were just a bunch of misfit beach volleyball programs from all over. And there was a lot of switching, people trying to get out of the conference if they wanted to be in like an easier conference and all that stuff. So the Big 12 was just a lot of like-minded schools like us that have similar budgets and we're just similar goals. So that was really great. And I think we only have 6 teams, but all 6 teams were ranked in the top 20. So it was just really balanced. And I think it helped us prepare for Gulf Shores because we had a mid-season conference tournament, which is a great competition. And then being able to win the conference championship our first year and beat the team that won the national championship 3 out of 4 times that year. And then in the conference championship, that gave us a lot of confidence going in to NCAAs. So we were so happy to find a home like Big 12. We don't have an AQ yet, which is a little interesting. We have to have one more year together with 6 teams to get the AQ. So that's the only downfall of the conference right now. We're hoping to get a waiver to get it, but we haven't so far. So, but you would like to think whoever gets first and second in such a great conference will go to NCAAs. It's just getting harder and harder every year.
So this is probably a question you may not want to answer. So if you don't want to answer it, that's fine. But I want to talk about net height because the height of the net was set when you didn't have 6'4" girls who could jump 30 inches into the air. Do you ever see a time where net height's going to go up just because the athleticism has just incredible athletes and net height seems, at least from just a fan watching, that it could be a little more challenging if the games would be different and if the net height was a little higher. What's your thoughts on that?
I actually think indoor they should relook at it because the surface is always the same. For beach volleyball, like you can play in Jacksonville or Gulf Shores and it's a little more hard packed.
Right.
So then the game plays differently. Or you play Manhattan Beach, Hermosa, and it's deeper.
Yep.
Or
Quicksand.
Portugal, Espinho, Portugal. My husband played there and I was like, wow, this is the deepest sand in the world. And so I think it's more the surface in beach volleyball versus the net height.
Yeah.
And then the ball and all the things. But indoor, I honestly, there's some giants in indoor and the surface is always the same. The gyms are the same. So I think maybe they might look at it first, but I haven't heard that in the conversation, even though I think all of us watching think eventually that'll happen. But yeah, I think there's just so many things that affect beach volleyball. There's so many elements.
Yeah. Sun,
the wind, Gulf Shores is very windy. So you may have a 6'4" athlete jump 30 inches, but can't pass in front,
Right.
So yeah, we have some amazing athletes that are in that range. Last year we had 4 players that were 6'3", 6'4", but every year is different. And I think there's still that beach volleyball athlete that's undersized. Yeah. It's just can grind out points and very mentally tough. And so changing the net would affect that. And I don't want to lose those athletes yet.
Yeah. And I'm sure you've seen the kind of the reel of volleyball through the ages, right?
Oh, no, I haven't.
Oh, you haven't?
I don't go on social media that much. So
It blows me away. Like, I mean, it starts in the 50s and it's not beach volleyball, it's indoor, right? But it just shows like how the game has progressed. And I know like the guys who are really good when I played in the late 80s, early 90s, probably couldn't even get a spot today. And the female athletes, their athleticism, I watch it. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. It's almost like it's AI. Like how does a human being like move that fast and do all the things that they're doing? So I was wondering, I'm just wondering about net height, because some of those ladies can really pound it, which I'm sure they could pound it with on a higher net too. And I was wondering about what you thought about that, or if there was any talk about that.
Yeah. And I almost think if there was like a specific back row, like indoor has back row, front row players and more specialty. So that's why I feel like their net should be a little bit higher. But beach doesn't have that. So I don't know how they would raise a net. But I do, I have 3 boys and they play volleyball. And I think we should lower the net for younger kids, because really it's a sport that's hard to play until you get older. So maybe a lighter ball and then a little smaller dimensions of the court and lower net would be really nice, because then they can just still get the same mechanics. And then as they grow, because I have a little 9-year-old and he's shorter than his older brother, and he just has to go up all the time.
Yeah.
So he's not learning, his arm's always sore. He's not learning the right arm swing.
Right.
If he could just swing down and have a lower net, maybe that would help him. I don't know.
So I'm glad you brought that. You have boys up and they play volleyball. So again, going back into the 80s, 90s, it was mostly guys. And now it seems like volleyball has become predominantly a female sport. And to my knowledge, I don't think there's any like clubs or anything available to young men.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that shift happened? And why don't you think there's more young men? Because there's lots of men who play at the tournaments, but there seems like there's this huge gap. It's not in high school. There's no clubs. What's your thoughts on that? Like why?
I don't know. And living in Tallahassee, it's something I'm trying to help my kids navigate and, do more camps with boys, and because there's the need there. Like my son just played a tournament someone else organized at the park by our house, and these boys that play soccer showed up because they wanted to have fun. They had the day off, and they were pretty good, for never playing volleyball. They're athletes.
Well, soccer players are just another breed. They're so fit.
No, they really are. And growing up in California, I think we both didn't understand, because men and boys were always playing, because the access to the beach was right there too.
Right.
And then it's just a lot more indoor volleyball. I think here with football being so predominant, baseball, basketball, it's just not a sport that is considered a men's sport. But South Florida is getting more. I think they have more men's and boys volleyball.
Oh, do they?
But again, they have more access to those beach courts than we do here in Tallahassee. My husband didn't play volleyball till he came to college here. And he played at fraternities. He was on their sports teams, and he's a 2-time Olympian. So I think developing late for boys is definitely a thing. And they just don't have the access to the sport out here as much as they do on the West Coast. And I know people that leave to go to a place where their boys can play volleyball, like Hawaii or California or things like that, because they love it so much. So they'll move their families over there to get the training. So that is unfortunate. It's such a great sport. The pro leagues in Europe for men, like you can make a lot of money. And I think that's part of it here is there's not a pathway to make money. Now women have a pathway to make money playing volleyball, especially indoor with the 2 pro leagues now in the U.S. It's phenomenal. We always had to go overseas, and that's something that not a lot of people want to do. So I hope as the women grow, the men grow too. And I know there's a group of people that are trying to do that. For me, I'm just trying to grow for my 3 boys. So hopefully we'll get some more action in Tallahassee, but I know Jacksonville has some things, so it's not too far away, but it's just hard to navigate it all with busy schedules.
Absolutely. Okay, I got 2 more questions for you. I know you have a hard cutoff, so we'll make this the lightning round. Gulf Shores, personally, I think it's such a great venue for the championship. I mean, I've never seen such a wide, flat beach, and I love how the juniors are out there too, playing their own tournament, and you got, the main, NCAA happening. And then, they were going to go out to California, and then they decided not to go to California. Do you think that Gulf Shores, like, is it now, is that kind of like permanent? Is that where it's going to be, or is it going to rotate still, or where are we at on that?
I know they committed through 2031.
Okay.
I feel like it's going to be like the soccer championships in Cary, North Carolina. Like you go to Oklahoma for softball. I feel like that's a place where it can be the iconic beach volleyball. You're going to Gulf Shores. Here's your ticket.
Yeah, it really makes sense. And when I heard that the NCAA championship was going to California, being a guy from LA, I'm like, where are they going to stay? Where are they going to play? Like, right, like this is going to like 10x the cost of it. And it's the only time I've ever been to Gulf Shores is to go out and watch the NCAA championship and watch my niece play at the side tournament that's happening at the same time. And I'm like, wow, I couldn't even believe I was in Alabama. I'm like, this is so cool. Like, I mean, this is an amazing spot. So, okay, that's good to know. All right, my last question, and then you're out of here, is if you could go back and tell yourself one thing before you took over the program, 2016, that would have kind of helped you along, even though you're the most winning coach in history and nobody's touched what you've already accomplished, but we all can improve or something at some point, right? So what's the one thing that you would have told yourself that would have helped you along in your journey?
I think just constantly staying true to myself. When I started, like I said, I had a conversation with myself. It's like, how do I want people to see Florida State beach volleyball? And then there's just so many different challenges with COVID and some things that I think for a portion of it, I lost a little bit of that. Even though the program was still doing good and it was great. I just think it defeated my love a little bit for coaching. So now I'm back to that. The last few years, like I've found my love for coaching because I've really ironed out my values as a person and as a leader. You know, you're a leader of all these young women.
Yeah.
So what you do matters and how you act matters and the decisions you make matter a lot, and just understanding. And nobody's going to like you all the time.
Yeah.
So you have to almost separate yourself. Like you can't be friends with them. You're their leader. And you're the one that's mentoring them, I guess I would say. So that's kind of what I would tell myself at the beginning. I was very young. And like I said, I'm sure I've made a lot of mistakes. And I know people see the wins, but it's not really the most important part. So I would just keep reminding myself of those things each year.
Yeah. Well, all your athletes that I've had in my classes and my programs have been amazing human beings, not just great volleyball players. So you're definitely mentoring them in a great way. And honestly, like your team as a whole, like I've seen them in the airport. I've walked up and just, said hi and asked them how it went. And they're always so like nice and accommodating and they don't like say, go away, old man,
They better not.
No, I'm not used to looking up to people, but yeah, that's, you've done a great job on just, instilling humility and just drive and especially students, all of them that I've had are just tremendous students. So congratulations, Coach. And I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. Go Noles.
Go Noles. Hey, thanks for tuning in to another amazing episode of the Innovation Mindset Podcast. Hey, if you like this episode, and how could you have not, make sure you hit that like button and make sure that you hit subscribe so you never miss another amazing episode. We'll see you next time.